Grandstand Bettors here with 32 NFL season previews in 32 days. We are on day number 14 and we continue with the AFC West, breaking down Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. As always, guys, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our team previews and all of our NFL picks this season. That's right, we have NFL free picks all season long that you're not going to want to miss. Also, while you're at it, smash that like button. The preseason is in full force. Games have been played almost all weekend long, and we are looking at the NFL season starting in less than a month. So get pumped about the NFL coming back. Before we get into that Chargers season preview, just a reminder, here at Grandstand Bettors, we're giving away $1,000 in our NFL contest over at grandstandbettors.com. The link is below in the description. Make sure you head on over to Grandstand Bettors and get signed up. Who knows, maybe you'll be taking home that $1,000 prize this year. While you're over at Grandstand Bettors, hey, become part of Grandstand Bettors family. You know, we're good people here. Get those free picks, free predictions all season long over at grandstandbettors.com. But without further ado, let's dive in to the Chargers season. And listen, the Chargers are a very interesting team to us. And besides Browns fans, which we know a little bit about, for the past 20 years, these have been the most aggravated fans in the NFL. For years, they put their trust behind Phillip Rivers, which although he is a good quarterback, the guy just can't win big games. This team made it to the playoffs 7 times under him, with players like LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, Vincent Jackson, but never once made the Super Bowl. However, after losing him in the offseason, Charger fans were definitely thinking rebuild for the 2020 season, but rookie quarterback Justin Herbert had other things in mind, let's be honest. This guy led them to a 7-9 record last season, which resulted in a push of what their preseason over was at 7. And in all honesty, there were several very winnable games last year that they ended up losing, like an overtime loss to the Chiefs in Week 2, a 5-point loss to the Panthers in Week 3, and an overtime loss to the Saints in Week 5, and still a few more that if Herbert had a little more experience in the NFL, they most likely probably would have won those games and possibly made the playoffs there. So he had other things in mind. I think he comes in and he's looking to make the playoffs this year. The offense's major weakness, though, last season was definitely their offensive line. And that's the one thing that they actually did prioritize here in the offseason. Defensively, the Chargers did not have a bad unit last year. In fact, they ranked 10th in total yards given up in all of the season. While they struggled, or where they struggled through, was defending against the run and keeping teams out of the end zone. With the way the rest of their offense and defense performed last season, it was a very straightforward approach on what they needed to fix up for the 2021 season. Now, to kick things off for what's going on in 2021 in their season preview, let's look into the offensive changes that occurred this offseason. The first one we want to highlight is the loss of Hunter Henry to the Patriots. They did replace him with Jared Cook from the New Orleans Saints, but on paper, Hunter Henry has a slight edge in receptions and yards, so we think it's kind of a slight downgrade to the offense there at tight end. On a side note, I've had Jared Cook for the last 3 years in Dynasty. He has his ups, he has his downs. Hopefully he'll be able to get on the same page with Justin Herbert and have more ups and downs this season, but time will only tell. Now, besides that change, nothing else really happened with their backs and wideouts, which we think is a great help for Herbert. The last thing you really want to do with a young quarterback in the NFL is keep switching guys up that they're playing with. It just adds another thing they have to adapt to while they're already getting used to defenses, offensive schemes, reading the defense on the fly, that kind of thing. So Herbert will have a second season with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Jalen Guyton, who are very reliable wideouts and can beat you down the field, especially with Herbert's arm strength. Now at running back, the Chargers have a solid starter in Austin Eckler, who we are excited to see this year, and a good backup in Justin Jackson. The key here with their run game is the offensive line, as we alluded to. The Chargers did some major reorganization to their O-line this offseason, adding free agents Matt Fielder from the Steelers and Ode Oboshi from the Lions, and center Corey Linsley from the Packers. Now, they also used their first draft pick to get Rashawn Slater from Northwestern, who should make an immediate impact and some seriously help to that O-line to help the run game. Now, defensively, we mentioned that the Chargers really only needed to work on their run defense. Their pass defense ranked 9th in the league last year behind veteran cornerback Chris Harris Jr., Michael Davis, and they re-signed, and Rashawn Jenkins at safety. With their second pick in the draft, the Chargers selected Asante Samuel out of Florida State University, who's going to add a ton of speed to that secondary, who's already solid. So the Chargers have some linebackers that are very good at pass coverage, but not so good at run defense, as the stats showed last year. To really improve that defense this year, those guys are going to have to step up and prevent those big yardage gains by opposing running backs to keep them in the games. Now, they also need someone to step up and help Joey Bosa out at defensive end. After losing Melvin Ingram to the Steelers, offenses should just be smart and run the ball to the opposite side that Bosa's not lined up on. It's as simple as that. We really think it's going to be a sore spot in the defense this year, and it's going to play a big part in their run defense, and something they haven't improved much. However, a good secondary does force teams to run the ball against them. So, as we mentioned, those linebackers really need to focus on stopping the run in preparation for this 21 season. Now, if you get into their schedule, Chargers, not bad, have the 17th hardest schedule this season, and most of their difficult games are right at the beginning of the season. Week 1 features a trip to Washington to take on the football team, which we still have not kind of decided the outcome of, but in our opinion, this is going to be one of the closest games of Week 1, mostly because Washington's defense and Fitzpatrick's tendencies to show up early in the season should be a pretty good game there. The Chargers have to play then Dallas at home, which we think is going to be a high-scoring game, and then they have to go to week number 3 and face the Chiefs. A rough 3 to start. In week 4, though, they're going to get back on track against Las Vegas, but then they could suffer back-to-back losses against the Browns and Ravens. Heading into their bye week, we could see a 3-3 record here, but after the bye week, the Chargers face the Patriots, which after a bye week, and the fact that they lost 45-0 last season to the Patriots, we like the Chargers to get a revenge win here, moving them to 4-3. And after that, the Chargers have 6 winnable games. They travel to Philly, play the Vikings and Steelers at home. Then they have away games at Denver, Cincinnati, and then a home game against the Giants. In all honesty, they probably could win all 6. We have them going 4-2. And then down the stretch, it's going to be close. With their win total set at over 9.5 going into week 13, I think their win total is still going to be in doubt. Honestly, depending on if Justin Herbert can become better and win those close games, this might come down to a Week 18 showdown against the Las Vegas Raiders. And because they might be in the playoff race, expect Herbert and the starters to play in that game and go for the win. We can see the Chargers getting that 10th win or maybe even 11th this season. We won't get too greedy, and we're going to probably go with they'll get 10 wins, which their win total started at 9 and has ticked up to 9.5 over the last week. So we think Justin Herbert can probably still get there. It's going to be close. They're just going to squeak over that 9.5. I think this is a 10-win team this season. But hey, Chargers fans, let us know. What do you think your team's going to do? Is Justin Herbert going to take this team to the playoffs? Are they going to be much better than last year? Does the loss of Hunter Henry come back to bite them? Will the defense be able to stop the run? All those things, Charger fans, I want to hear. What do you think about your team this season? As always, that's it for us here on the LA Chargers season preview. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're going to go against one of the Chargers' big rivalries. We're going to talk Las Vegas Raiders. But as always, sit back, relax, enjoy the preseason that's going on. Get pumped for the NFL season that's coming up. And don't forget to head on over to grandstandbettors.com, sign up for that $1,000 NFL contest, and start living that grandstand life. We'll see you tomorrow.